Welcome back, everybody, to our lovely episode 12. We're so close to the teens, but unfortunately, we're still in our early years, our middle school years.
We are. Good to be back.
It is great to be back. It is an exciting week of football. Sorry, Christian McCaffrey just fumbled live TV, and the Panthers messed it up. So, L, L on them for another day. How's your week been of football?
I had a pretty good week. Lions had a good game. Officially, the Michigan State football team is going to be at most a 4-8 team, but most likely 3-9. Watched us lose 9 straight games, so that's not good. But speaking of basketball, our team is ranked 11th, so I have that.
Yeah, you have a really good basketball team.
That's good. We also have, I don't know if we're number 1 anymore, but we have like a top 3 hockey team as well. So
Not really care about hockey.
we're just not a football team, our school, and that's fine. What about you, Mr.
Not yet.
Michael? That's true.
My week's been pretty good, surprisingly. I really thought the Falcons were gonna make me want to end my life, but they didn't. And obviously Georgia was playing Charlotte, so it was a pretty good week of football for me there. And I actually, well, obviously we'll get into this later, but I actually won in all my leagues. So it's very exciting. Unfortunately it's been a long time since I've won in both fantasy and regular football.
Well, that sounds like a good week. We had another very interesting week. It seems like things are starting to take shape in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
A game I was really surprised about was the Thursday night game. So the first one we're going to talk about was the Bills at the Houston Texans. And it seems like they have a really good run game. Josh Allen is, as always, he's incredible. But this team just cannot seem to overcome their weaknesses. You can't rely on just 2 or 3 players to carry your entire team, especially when they're almost entirely on offense.
It's unfortunate what's happening to the Bills, and I feel for Bills fans because this is Davis Mills is doing this to you, man. He barely has 50% pass completion.
Yeah.
It's coaching malpractice what's happening with the Bills right now. And their whole offense is cooking too.
No, I agree, and especially with how many sacks did they get on Josh Allen? And I will also apologize for all of those watching. I am sick right now. I do have a mild cold, but it makes me sound like I have tuberculosis. Though they had 8 sacks on Josh Allen, 2.5 of those came from Will Anderson Jr. We know this Texans defense is truly showing how defense can win championships, where their offense just had to play okay. Davis Mills threw for less than 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. 74 yards on the ground. That's not like a great game by any means for their offense.
No, it's
but
not.
Yet, if you get 2 takeaways, 8 sacks on Josh Allen, you don't need to outgain your opponent. You just need to hang in and make the plays that are necessary. And Davis Mills played a pretty efficient game. And that's all you can really ask for.
It's a very interesting outcome. It begs the question: are the Bills serious? Because their defense seems to be just open. I know I said it before. They're like a revolving door, while the store is open. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it.
No, not for this, but I'll move us on to our next game, which is in contention. There are 2 games specifically, or I guess we had 3 overtime games this week. But the Colts lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, despite him not, when you look at the stats, not necessarily having his best game, still threw for 350 yards, 1 pick. Daniel Jones, he didn't have a terrible game. He played efficiently. I think the biggest thing I'm seeing is that Jonathan Taylor wasn't able to go off this game. And especially when your offense kind of revolves around a running back like that, it is really hard when they're able to successfully shut them down. And Kansas City was able to have a 4th quarter comeback, just get a 2-point conversion and a field goal, and win it in overtime. And they're 5-1 at home right now, which is all but one of their wins. Pretty impressive. They have such a distinct home field advantage at Arrowhead that they're able to knock off a red-hot Colts team.
Yeah, this game was won in the trenches. It was won with his time of possession, almost 20 minutes of difference for the Chiefs. The Colts didn't have the luxury of rushing 28 times Jonathan Taylor. They had to do a 16, and he only got 50 out of that. So then you kind of make Daniel Jones pass the ball, which he just hasn't been very good with. Like you said, it was a great 4th quarter comeback. I actually watched this game. They did not look good throughout most of this game, and then probably second half, 3rd quarter, they kind of started to drive a little bit every once in a while. Got to the fourth quarter, then we're finally able to score. So pretty much everything coaching wise is exactly how you said. I do want to note crazy stat: Jermaine Pratt of the Colts had 20 tackles.
Oh my God.
15 of them were solo. Like, that's crazy.
That is
That man
crazy.
had himself a day. Left it all out in the field for real. We'll just go ahead and move on to this next game. We have an interesting game here. Kind of going, I think the way that you and I predicted it, low key. Or at least I did. Chicago versus Pittsburgh. This is going to be 31-28. Caleb Williams might be real. And right now they have a big foothold on the NFC North.
I will say they did barely beat a Mason Rudolph-led Steelers team, but
That is true.
a win is a win, and they made the plays necessary to win this game. For our next game, one that was surprisingly closer than I expected, which was the Patriots winning 26-20 against the Bengals. Currently, the Patriots are far and away favorites to win the 1 seed in the AFC. I don't want to make any predictions because we don't really know, but they do have an easy schedule, but they are also 10-2. They've undefeated on the road. Drake May didn't have his best game, but Jamar Chase was out. T. Higgins left with an injury, and when you lose your top two weapons like that, you can't expect a 40-year-old Joe Flacco to kind of carry this team on his back.
This is a really difficult AFC game here. Funny enough, I actually started Hunter Henry in one of my leagues. It was one of the 2 games that he has where he gets over 10 points. He scored like 20 points for me. That was because he had a touchdown and like 100-something yards. Love that for me. It just seems like a shootout, and Cincinnati came up short. But otherwise, yeah, like you said, a good game. Close game, surprising game. Moving on to this next game, though, we have Baltimore versus New York Jets. This was a stinker, not much of a bat of an eye. Justin Fields and the Jets only scored 10 points. Baltimore scores 23 for a 13-point victory. Pretty simple stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, again, it looked closer at halftime, but the Jets are the Jets. Tyrod Taylor might be better than Justin Fields in certain areas, but overall they're both not good. And so you're not going to win games with either of them at the helm. For the next game, another one that was surprisingly closer, I will say, I don't think since I started watching the league that I have seen a team that is 1-10. Very impressive stuff on the Titans side of things, but Sam Darnold did not have his best day. I mean, he didn't throw any picks or have any turnovers, and neither did Cam Ward. I think this is one of Cam Ward's best games so far. It's not really his fault that he's getting sacked 4 times. He just has a terrible O-line, especially with such a bad offense. Being able to put 24 points up on the Seahawks is impressive.
If their best receiver wasn't like Xavier Restrepo or whatever, like this team would be so much better. And if they actually had a head coach, they'd also be a lot better. Cam Ward's playing really great right now. He's kind of like, considering his situation, he's doing phenomenally. The Titans have really shined with their special teams unit. I think this is Shamir Dyke's second punt return touchdown. The one that in this game went for 90 yards. But, they still come up short by 6. The Seahawks had a little bit of a scare there, just to remind you, any given Sunday. Moving on to this next game here, we have a nice little NFC North divisional matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. 9 forgot to show up today. If you see the Minnesota Vikings score of 6, flip it upside down, that's where he went. Rest in peace to the Vikings. But 2 interceptions and under 100 yards for a whole game, that's sad.
That really is. I mean, he had 5 sacks, 2 picks. I didn't watch any of this because I was watching the Lions game, but it's not even that the Packers played astoundingly well, especially with their leading rusher getting 3.8 yards a carry. That's not that impressive. It's just your quarterback truly cannot play football.
Yeah,
truly. I was seeing they're comparing him to Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell was playing better than JJ McCarthy, and JJ McCarthy is in one of the best situations for a quarterback. It is very confusing.
I think I saw a stat line of Justin Jefferson where it showed his averages, or his projected numbers, not his averages, and he was projected to have 3 touchdowns at the end of the year. That's how you know that you're failing as a team.
Oh, absolutely. For this next game, this is one that I'm not going to lie, I kind of fully thought that the Lions were going to lose this one. You were down 10 points, going into the fourth quarter, you haven't been able to do anything offensively. All I'm going to say is thank God for Jahmyr Gibbs. A 69-yard rushing touchdown at the beginning of overtime is crazy. Definitely have things to clean up, but I will say that One of the biggest things is New York has one of the best defensive lines in football. They also have a pretty, defensive line affects the pass game. So that is I just wanted to add that with how Jared Goff played, but he played a pretty good game. The one pick was a tipped pass, which in my own mind, I don't really count that. Yeah, Jared Goff had a pretty good game. We had one of the few games where Jameis Winston plays like an MVP candidate. He had a 30-yard receiving touchdown, which had me hooting and hollering. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, that was an insane play.
But yeah, 366 yards. Only took one sack, which is Aiden Hutchinson walk-off sack at the end of the game. Overall, I mean, it was just very impressive. We survived. The Giants blow yet another fourth quarter lead, and for as bad as this team is, we need to give them credit with how they've had multiple games that they should have won this year. And if they'd won all of these games they were leading in the fourth quarter, I think I saw that they would be 7-5 right now. Very much in the contention for the playoffs. So
that's definitely an interesting stat. I was watching the Kansas City game, I think, while this game was going on. Yeah, and I saw the notification of the Jameis Winston touchdown, and I just sat there and I thought, Ben must be tweaking out right now.
Oh, I was so mad. Yeah.
Because when that touchdown scored, everybody was kind of like, "Oh shit!" Like, are they like they're low key cooked here? And then obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs 50-yard rush, and then later at 70 it was absolutely insane. So I know this was probably a really great game to watch.
Oh yeah, it was fun to watch. It's just one of those games I wish I had felt confident in, but. A win's a win, and I'm not going to complain about being 7-4. 7-4 is so much better than being 6-5. And we got to go into Thanksgiving.
Because you guys usually play on Thursdays too. So
yeah, we do.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and move on with that to the Jacksonville game where they escape
the last overtime game of the week. Yeah.
Yeah. The last overtime win between Jacksonville and the Arizona Cardinals, 27-24. Seems like there was a lot of close and good games this week.
4 turnovers on the part of the Jags, and they still ended up winning. That, I mean, I know it's against not a necessarily a super good team, but the Cardinals are better than they look, and that is still an impressive win when you have 4 turnovers and you're able to win.
For once, Trevor Lawrence didn't. No, he was kind of mid. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I was trying to help him out here. I thought he was being good, but he wasn't. But I guess. Going on to this next game, this is a pretty interesting and good game for the ones who stuck by Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns versus the Las Vegas Raiders, 24-10.
Geno Smith got sacked 10 times, half of those coming from Myles Garrett himself.
He's a monster. He is 18 on the year, I think. If he keeps this pace, he'll break the record.
Easily, yeah.
Shedeur Sanders actually plays pretty well. Has a couple of deep targets. He can actually move the ball and escape the pocket. He played a lot better than Dylan Gabriel. No surprise here. Kevin Stefanski already mentioned Shedeur Sanders has been named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Starting now.
A new era.
A new era in Cleveland begins. One that fans wanted this entire time. So hopefully this will, obviously, they probably don't have playoff hopes, but never say never. They're not mathematically out of it yet. If they win every game from here on out,
that is possible.
You're still looking at 9-8. So
yeah, all you need is a winning record to get into the playoffs. That's true. They're not in a very good division this year. For our next game, and I'll let you do most of the talking, Michael, leading the Falcons to a 2-score victory over the Saints. I know it's always a good day for you when the Saints lose, so let me know what your take is on this.
If you guys watch this game, you'll see that Kirk Cousins has an interception. And the Saints have 10 points. The one touchdown the Saints had was a pick 6 by Justin Reed, where Kyle Pitts was targeted, hit square in the hands with nobody around him. The ball bounces out of his hands, and it just tip drills straight into Justin Reed's hands. And Kyle Pitts was targeted pretty early, pretty often, because it was going to have to be him or Mooney who steps up. And Kyle Pitts did not step up. In fact, he gave them a touchdown, essentially. So our defense only allowed 3 points. Blake Groupie, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He also missed 2 field goals this game. So he's probably under some scrutiny right now. But to really focus on the point, there was a couple of plays here. I'm not going to lie here. I don't think Michael Penix could have made a lot of these plays.
So like a arm strength thing, accuracy. Like what kind of trait are you talking about?
A good play to focus on is the Darnell Mooney 50-yard touchdown. It was a deep shot down the middle of the field with a little bit of pressure. Michael Penix kind of panics on the pressure. He can only really read one or two like reads, and then it's just kind of done. He doesn't really have the ability to, sit there and wait for a play to develop. Sit in the right spot, know how to like call out the coverage and make his offense go in certain ways. So I mean, there's that aspect to it. They also call plays differently. Like Kirk Cousins gets a lot of under center plays. Michael Penix gets barely any under center plays. We had more play action than normal, which actually opens up our playbook more. So there is a chance that Kirk Cousins plays better than Michael Penix, and the Falcons consider starting Kirk Cousins next year, while letting Michael Penix sit and recover, and then learn, and then maybe trying again on another year. Who knows? Whatever it is, it's an embarrassing loss because between one of these two quarterbacks, we fumbled one of them horribly. Nonetheless, we still win, so I'm very happy about that. Our defense is literally godlike. Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. are becoming an insane duo on top of Xavier Watts getting his third interception of the year as a rookie safety. And our defense is so good, dude.
I know, you should be excited.
I'm very excited.
For our Sunday night game, one that I think we were all pretty surprised about, is the Cowboys leading a fourth quarter comeback against the Eagles and completely shutting out the Eagles in the second half. Seems like some of these trades that they made might have actually paid off because they were able to stop the run. It's held Saquon to 2.2 yards a carry, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, no, not easy to do at all. The one, another game where AJ Brown actually does something. I unfortunately did not watch this game because I think it was on the same time the Chiefs game. George Pickens I've seen a couple of highlights from him from this game. George Pickens makes some crazy catches.
Great season.
Yeah, Dak Prescott was dotting it up. So the Dallas offense just kind of locked in at that last little bit. That's what I see there. The Eagles offense grew extremely stagnant, and their main issues came out right then. But in general, Cowboys win. Maybe the Cowboys aren't as bad as everybody thought they were.
I mean, again, it just seems like they might be clicking again for a team like Dallas. It's not too late to make the playoffs. So
yeah, no, absolutely, it's very possible.
And then for our last game that's finished, we have the Buccaneers getting blown out by the Rams. Baker Mayfield was not playing a very good game before he got injured. I don't have a lot to say about this because, when you lose your starting quarterback before the second half even starts, there's not much that you can do. All the love to Teddy Bridgewater, but especially against a team like the Rams who are 9-2, there's not much that you can do about that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And Baker goes down close to the end of the second quarter. I mean, at this point, it was already around 28-7 when he goes down. The game was not looking very good. Matthew Stafford had 2 touchdowns. They already had a pick six. 3 touchdowns and a pick six. So it's just like, would Baker being in change much? Maybe it would be closer. The Rams are far and away the Super Bowl favorites right now. This is a really, really good football team. Even though I know that somebody just got to 10 wins. I think it was the Colts. I'm still taking the Rams right now with Matthew Stafford continuing his MVP season. But yeah, that's all we have for our recap of this week. We're going to go ahead and move on to...
We're going to do a little fun thing for y'all today.
We are going to do a tier list.
Yay. So today we're just going to be doing a quick quarterback tier list, basically taking into account how we feel about how good each quarterback is. So this will count the careers of every current starting quarterback. For what we found, we couldn't find completely updated. So for when you see the picture of I think we'll keep Baker in for now just because we don't know if he's out long term. But for Kyler Murray, that would be Jacoby Brissett. We have a picture of Mac Jones, but that's Brock Purdy, who is the starting quarterback again. Russell Wilson would be Jackson Dart. Joe Burrow would be Joe Flacco. Michael Penix. We can keep Michael Penix in there. I know he's out for the rest of the season, but he did play a lot, so we'll just keep him in there for now. And then Jaden Daniels will be Marcus Mariota. And then Joe Flacco will be Shadur Sanders. So I know this kind of some exceptions to the rule I keep bringing up. And then also Spencer Rattler will make Tyler Shuck, but it doesn't really change anything. But yeah, we're just going to kind of go through and see where we both stand on them. And we're doing S through F. Anyone who's seen the tier list before knows how this works. It's not very complicated. But I'm excited to, see where Michael and I land, and we're going to try to agree on their positions before we do that. And we can get nitpicky, but for the most part, I just want them to be put in the correct tier. I don't think it really matters who's higher than others.
We'll start here with the first quarterback on the list. We got Jordan Love. I'm taking him over a good chunk of these guys. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like Jordan Love is kind of mid.
I would put him in like a high B tier because I think when he's like locked in, he's good. Also, he makes so many boneheaded mistakes, and he has not been playing super well recently that I do think that for the most part, I don't think he's proven that he is an elevator. I think he kind of suffers from inconsistency. So he's good. Like you said, I take him over a lot of other quarterbacks, but I don't think he is deserving of an A or S tier label.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. This next quarterback is Jared Goff. I know you're pretty high on him. I would say
Jared Goff, dude.
I would say A, just because he's kind of turnover prone sometimes. So I would say like mid to low A.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I do think Jared Goff is at the highest. I think he's like the 8th best quarterback, but as low as the 12th. So he's kind of in that top 10 quarterback conversation. So I do think he's definitely A tier. He's not as good as S tier, but I think you can win Super Bowls with anyone who's even in like a B tier and above. But obviously the higher you go, the easier it gets.
This next quarterback, your favorite quarterback in the league, J.J. McCarthy.
Number 9.
9.
He is F tier. He is terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you here. I think I'd say Justin Fields and Geno Smith right now are probably the only quarterbacks worse than him. So he's pretty bottom of the list.
Yeah, and it's like for anyone, it's like I know we're hating on him, but he still has time to develop. So I wouldn't. He could still get better, but for now he has 6 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, I think, off the top of my head, and I just don't think he's not that guy right now.
It is what it is. This is also a list of like this season.
Yeah, he's only played 6 games. So
Peyton Manning always had a bad start to his career, same with Josh Allen, so he can always pick it up. But right now, still F tier. This next quarterback is Caleb Williams, who, in my opinion, is above Jordan Love.
I was gonna put him in an upper B tier. I still don't think he's an A yet. I don't think he has the consistency because he'll still have some bad games. But yeah, I still think he's better than Jordan Love at the moment.
So I'll put him in. So he's going to rest in B tier. He's really popping off this year. I'm not going to lie.
Our next quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a high A tier quarterback. I think he's very good. I think he's on the cusp of being an S tier quarterback, but he doesn't have the impressive numbers that a lot of other ones do. He is mobile. He is accurate. But I think he kind of reminds me if Justin Fields was like actually able to throw the ball accurately. Like I don't think he's necessarily like a Lamar Jackson type thrower or a Joe Burrow thrower, but he is good enough. He reminds me like kind of with like the accuracy of what Jared Goff can have with being more mobile, but not quite at that next step of being an S tier quarterback. But I think I would put him at like in the top 2 or 3 A tier quarterbacks for sure.
See, this is where this is going to get a little funky because in recent years or in the past couple of years, he's been very like not that good. He's good with the rushing touchdowns. He doesn't have a lot of pass volume anymore, and it just doesn't seem like he's targeting his receivers as much, which is that might entirely not be his fault, but a lot of this offensive stagnant ness, I guess it to me it feels like it's kind of the cause of Jalen Hurts. So much so I would probably I might prefer Jordan Love at this point, but at the same time they're probably around the same for me.
I could compromise on putting Jalen Hurts between Caleb Williams and Jordan Love.
I like that. I think that and the worst part is like he when he won the Super Bowl, he was easily playing at an A.
I guess that's a good point you bring up because I do think that I'm just thinking about when he's at his best because I don't watch a lot of Eagles games, but with like him not having the best volume, and it's not necessarily his fault that the Eagles aren't playing super well, but he has had a bunch of kind of bad games where he's had some bad misses. So I think B tier is fine. I know there's a lot of Jalen Hurts haters and believers who want him either lower or higher, but remember I wanted him in A tier. Michael said he was trash, so
I brought it down.
But yeah, for our next one, I know it looks like Jaden Daniels, but let's just pretend that this is Marcus Mariota. I'm feeling Marcus Mariota in D tier.
Yeah.
Probably upper D tier because, he's a backup quarterback and he can have good games.
They're just hard to come by.
There's hard to come by, and D tier for a backup is not bad. I think that's kind of the best you can ask for is, maybe a C tier, low C tier, but he's better than, some other starting quarterbacks in the league right now.
I wouldn't take him anymore because I've already had my experience with him. I know how it's going to go. But there's still a good, couple of quarterbacks that you could take him over. This next guy is Dak Prescott.
Mr. Prescott, yeah.
This is going to be interesting because I kind of like Dak Prescott of late. I don't know. He still kind of throws interceptions kind of heavy. Doesn't really fumble the ball much. But when he is cooking, Dak Prescott is cooking. Nobody can deny that, especially right like this year. I would probably put him between Caleb Williams and Jalen Hurts.
I think I was gonna put him in A tier above Jared Goff. I think he's the best quarterback on this list so far. I'll just make my case because I'm fine settling, but for me, when I see Dak Prescott, yes, he has down games, but especially this year where they've had a terrible defense and he has had to put this entire team on his back. He is thrown for almost 3,000 yards. He has 23 touchdowns, and yes, he has 7 interceptions, but he has a lower number of sacks than basically every other quarterback except for Sam Darnold and Jared Goff in the top 7. And he's lower than Drake May or Patrick Mahomes above him in terms of passing yards. In terms of touchdowns, he is tied for second place. And 7 interceptions right now, which maybe is like 11 to 12 over the whole season, is really not that bad. So I just think, yes, last year was kind of a down year, but he was hurt. The year before that, he could have won MVP. He's had crazy seasons, and I just think he's earned the respect. I think he's better than Jared Goff. I still don't think it's by much, but I think that Dak Prescott is firmly an upper A tier quarterback. I don't think he's S, but I wouldn't put him down with like Caleb Williams or Jordan Love right now.
Honestly, you've convinced me. I'll rock him above Jared Goff. I do think he has the caliber to be that good. So I'm totally fine with that, to be honest.
Okay, so now we have what is it, Mr.
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. It's not actually him. We're gonna put in Jackson Dart because he should be coming back. He's in concussion protocol again. Honestly, I'm good with putting Jackson Dart in a low C tier so far. I think he's playing well. He still has a lot to prove. He's a rookie. He's hungry. He is injury prone. But I think he's firmly better than some other quarterbacks who were rookies last year. And I think he's currently the best rookie quarterback in the class, which is not saying that much when you have like 4 starters, but who are only one other first rounder. But he's good. He's really good.
I'm perfectly content with the C. Moving on to our next quarterback. In my opinion, our first S tier quarterback, Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is the type of franchise quarterback that can win you games on his back alone. You can see the game. I know the Bucks are on a losing skid right now, but the games that they have won, especially all those close games, those are usually decided by like a gritty 15-yard Baker Mayfield run and then a couple of beautiful dots from Baker to Mbuka. It seems like, especially with Tampa Bay, they signed Baker Mayfield off of like a fringe impulse, and it's literally been like the best investment of all time. I personally think he's S tier. I'm not going to be upset with an A tier because he is pretty turnover prone, but if he does slide to A tier, I would say he probably doesn't go past Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I personally, I would put him in upper A just because of he has had 3 really good seasons, but he has had career struggles. But I am okay with putting Baker in S tier because he has the arm. I would say he's probably the lowest one on S tier.
I can rock him high A right now.
Okay, yeah, and we can always come back and do adjustments when we see like how the tier list is panning out. But yeah, I mean, everything he said, I mean, I love Baker. He's great. It's not really his fault that a lot of these games he's losing. But yeah, for the next one, we have Bryce Young. I am going to put Bryce Young in D tier. He is just not very good. I mean, again, you could do worse. I would put him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I will put him over Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
So upper D tier. With that again is still D tier.
Yeah, I would say Bryce Young is upper D tier on the way to C. I wouldn't be mad at a low, like a mid to low C. He just is kind of like average. He's had too many games under 130 yards with a pick and a touchdown. And I mean, that just doesn't win you games. I mean, luckily their defense has been playing out of their mind, and he dropped 400 on the Falcons, and they blew out the Falcons the other game, 30-0. He didn't have that many yards, but there are games where he's played phenomenally well, and right now he's not playing too bad. He's already thrown a pick, but he's not losing them the game, which he doesn't. He doesn't really lose games, but he doesn't often win them either, and that to me is average.
For our next player, we have Michael Penix. Honestly, I'm thinking firmly mid C tier right now. I think he has the potential, but if I'm being honest, I think Jackson Dart is playing better than Michael Penix. I know they haven't won a lot of games, but Jackson Dart is doing more with less and with worse coaching. And I know that the Falcons have pretty bad coaching, but I just think they're close to each other. But I personally would put them in like a mid C tier right now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's just some weird he's trying to be nonchalant while also like following the rules. I think it's kind of like a coaching thing as well. I don't think Raheem is a good coach for him. He doesn't seem confident like the other rookie quarterbacks are confident. I was gonna say he's probably around the same level of Bryce Young at the moment because he doesn't really pass a lot, but I think his ceiling is way higher.
Yeah, maybe low C tier. I still think he's firmly a tier above Bryce Young from what I've seen so far. But yeah, and we'll see. Now it looks like Spencer Rattler, but he's Tyler Shuck. I'm putting him firmly in F tier so far. He hasn't won maybe he won a game if I'm being honest. I don't really remember. I think they beat the Panthers. He just hasn't had enough games to prove himself, and we just need to, I guess, give him more time.
You said you were putting him under JJ 9.
I'd put him over JJ actually.
No, I'm fine with over, just because of he just doesn't seem like he can do anything right now.
Well, and he's in a worse situation, and I feel like he's at least playing better than JJ McCarthy is.
That is also fair. I'm fine with that. So yeah, we'll move on to this next one. We have Matthew Stafford, the MVP candidate.
S tier.
There is no other quarterback this season playing better than Matthew Stafford. So he is our facto number one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have much else to say. He has had an incredible career. He's won a Super Bowl. Probably would have won more if he wasn't on the Lions. I don't think he's highest tier, but I think he has earned his spot there. For the next quarterback, we have not Kyler Murray. We have Jacoby Brissett, who I will put Jacoby Brissett in a low B tier. Maybe that's a hot take, but he's playing very well this season. I know they're not winning games again, but that's not really his fault.
I like that take. I was gonna say high C tier. I'll absolutely take low B tier. I agree with you. He's putting up 300 yards a game, and he's throwing a little bit of interceptions, yes, but I mean, what can you really do when
Playing from behind a lot.
you're playing from behind a lot? Your offensive line is not the best. You have no run game. Sometimes it's just impossible, and he's finding a way to keep these games close. So with the full season's prep, and he deserves a starting role on a team. One of these worst for wear teams should go scoop him up. He's more than capable of being like a starter and playing phenomenally. I'm fine with low B tier. This next quarterback is Seahawks Sam Darnold, who I'm putting low A tier.
I'm okay with that. I was debating between high B tier and low A tier, and I'm fine with low A tier. I think he is definitely showing that he has that consistency now to be a really good quarterback, and he's leading the Seahawks to what is almost certainly going to be at least a playoff berth, probably wild card right now. For the next quarterback, we have not Mac Jones. We're back to Brock Purdy. And if I'm being honest, and I want your opinion on this, I would put him at the very end of B tier, if not the high C tier.
I haven't been the biggest Brock Purdy fan, and I honestly think Mac Jones has kind of earned the spot over him because Brock Purdy was never putting up these numbers that he's doing. I guess recently he's kind of struggled, but at the beginning of Mac Jones's couple of starts, he's playing really well. I Brock Purdy at this moment in time has 3 interceptions in the Monday night game against Carolina. I would put him bottom C tier.
Bottom C tier? That's fine with me.
Him and Bryce Young are kind of the same as well, and it just seems like Brock Purdy is kind of just an average system quarterback, and that's just kind of what. It's kind of I feel like he belongs in the average tier, but
Our next quarterback is Lamar Jackson, firmly the top of the S tier right now. I think he's better than Matthew Stafford. No hate to Matthew Stafford whatsoever, but Lamar Jackson is just a freak of nature.
I would say Lamar Jackson, talent-wise, is definitely better. Matthew Stafford is playing better this season, but that's also because of injury. Honestly, I'm not that upset with this. So he's definitely S tier, and these two are definitely interchangeable. So, but I'm perfectly fine with having him up on one. But yeah, so this next quarterback is, it looks like the hot man Joe Burrow, but this is actually Joe Flacco, who ironically is next to Joe Flacco. But Joe Flacco for the Cincinnati Bengals right now, I'm giving him high C tier.
I was going to say he's the top of the C tier right now.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely, producing the same kind of levels of these other C tier quarterbacks, but he's doing it with veteran experience. And, it's insane that a 40-year-old can do this. Because he's like 41 or 42 or something like that. So the fact that he can come out here, he could be a starter for multiple games, and he can pretty much almost win games, it's astounding.
For our next quarterback, we have Shadur Sanders. I'm going to put him at the bottom of F tier. We've only seen a game and a half of him, like 6 quarters. He played fine against the Raiders, but that's also against the Raiders where Myles Garrett's got 4 sacks against them. I think he and JJ McCarthy might be on the same level right now, but I just, as much as 9 is playing bad, he does have more starts under his belt than Shadur does.
Yeah, definitely. We'll probably see a couple of rough starts from Shador in the next coming weeks. They did play the Raiders last week, so it could always become a lot different. So we do have the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers is coming back, right? He's not out for the year, so I would say we keep this Aaron Rodgers.
He'll be back.
Aaron Rodgers is probably high D tier for me. Maybe
high D tier.
Yeah, maybe above Michael Penix right now.
Is that C tier or D tier that you put Michael?
Michael Penix is in C tier for me.
Okay, I can settle with that, kind of a mid C tier, because I was gonna put him at the very end of B tier, but I agree. I just think he has the mentals to play still, but he definitely doesn't have the physical part to do this anymore, which is just kind of sad to see, because you can tell that he sees the windows, he just can't make those throws anymore.
Yeah, which is kind of like, that's kind of why he kind of falls for me. If he could do what he wanted to do every time, he probably wouldn't. His team probably wouldn't be losing right now.
Yeah.
His age is kind of holding him back. So that's why I kind of want to put it in a C tier.
For our next one, we have Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm going to put him in D tier. I think that he is probably at the end of D tier.
Yeah, he's kind of, him and Marcus Mariota are kind of the same boat,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. Especially without, like, a superstar in Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle is good and all, but they're playing better than they started out, but still, he's definitely not, at the forefront of that.
It's true. I think we have our next S tier quarterback, which is Josh Allen. I would put him again at the top, above Lamar and above Matthew Stafford. I know it's a hot debate. I personally think Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson, but I am happy to settle with him being lower.
Yeah, I kind of, Lamar Jackson seems to, they both fumble, but I think Josh Allen is more fumble prone. Josh Allen he has more grit, but it's hard to judge because Lamar Jackson kind of has injury history. Josh Allen is more consistent, but to me it feels like when Lamar Jackson is playing, he's playing consistently better, at a very high level, and Josh Allen kind of like, he has a higher ceiling, but he often plays down to the competition. But yeah, I'm gonna put him between Stafford and Jackson.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Alrighty, but yeah, so this next QB is the New England Patriots quarterback Drake May, who I think is high B, low A.
I would put him low A. I would argue that he's above Sam Darnold. I think that I think he's right below Goff, between Goff and Darnold. Again, we need to see consistency, but he's having a very good season. A lot of these games, he is winning by himself. Not by himself, but like he's carrying the team to victory. He doesn't have the best receiving core. He does have Stephon Diggs, but Stephon Diggs is getting older. For our next quarterback, we have Mr. Justin Fields. I don't know if he's coming back, but we've had most of him.
Bottom of F, bro.
Bottom of F. But is he better than Shador?
I would honestly, right now, I would never take Justin Fields.
Okay, I'll put him at the bottom of F, yeah.
Shador has more promise. Right now, we know Justin Fields can run. He cannot pass. He might have a future if he converts his position, but as of right now, it looks like he's going to end up becoming like a permanent backup quarterback. This next quarterback is Jacksonville Jaguars' own Trevor Lawrence, who I'm honestly putting behind Jacoby Brissett, low B tier.
I am fine with that. I was debating between him being low B tier or high C tier, and that's fine with me. I do think he's kind of mid, but that's also like right where the mid starts is low B tier.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
For our next quarterback, we have CJ Stroud. I would honestly put him one spot above Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I'll take that.
He's not very good, but I don't think he's bad. I think he still has a lot of potential. He could get better. We need to see more out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. This next quarterback is rising star Daniel Jones, who I would also put above Sam Darnold. I don't know where you have him.
I would put him down in B tier. I would put him between Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, if I'm being honest. Just because this is his first season where he hasn't played like dog shit. I guess he had one good season. I think he's good, but I don't know if he's earned a spot above, because this is Caleb Williams' second season. Caleb Williams is, playing well. Daniel Jones is a veteran. Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl. Like, I just think we need to see more from Daniel Jones, but I wouldn't be upset with putting him higher. But I just feel like he is not quite to the same level of A tier yet.
You said between Williams and Hurts?
I said between Hurts and Love.
I won't die on that hill. I'll take that.
Next quarterback and the last of the AFC South is Cam Ward. Right now, I'd put him at the bottom of D tier. I do think he's playing better than everyone on F tier so far. A lot of it isn't really his fault, but he's still not good. So yeah, I think he's bottom of D tier right now. He's earned his way out of F tier, but it's only won one game.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Not much to argue. He's been playing decent given his conditions, but nonetheless, decent is as good as it gets. This next quarterback is Kansas City Chiefs legend Patrick Mahomes, who just kind of, based on his records, you kind of have to throw him at number one overall.
Yeah, not much to say. He is the GOAT right now. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He's made it to 4 or 5. Like, he is incredible. He still plays well. If the Chiefs make the playoffs, they have a chance of making the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter what seed they are.
And you don't get that with a lot of even these S tier quarterbacks.
No. For our next one though, we have Justin Herbert. And I'm curious where we're gonna put him, but I would put him at the very top of A tier. He could be above Baker, or it could be between Baker and Dak.
I would say he's above Baker.
So like high A tier,
yeah,
the highest of A tier.
He's not good enough to go into S tier right now. He literally hasn't won anything except like one playoff game. So I would have to put him. He just can't go into S tier. But yeah, this next quarterback is Denver Broncos Bo Nix, who I would put like top of C tier.
Top of C tier. I'm good with that. It does seem like compared to a lot of these other teams, he's looking better just because he has like a Super Bowl caliber defense. I'm good with that.
I just think Bo Nix is just kind of like the epitome of average. He's probably the most average quarterback in the league right now. He excels at nothing while also being like, he's bad at everything as much as he is good at everything. So he just kind of like super balances out. It's insane.
For our last quarterback, we have Geno Smith. I would put Geno at the top of F tier. I mean, that's not like a good thing to say. I think he's objectively better than the quarterbacks below him, but he is still really bad.
He hasn't really been good his whole career. He had one good season last year with the Seahawks. I think 2 good seasons, but he hasn't been good enough, especially this year. He's been pretty bad. He just hasn't earned anything to hop out of the trash tier. This is our final tier list. You guys go ahead and take a picture. Maybe in like a year or two, you can be like, "Hey, look how dumb you guys are."
Yeah, let us know what you think though. Do you think that is Drake May an A tier quarterback? Is Cam Ward D tier? Like, let us know if we have any bad takes. Let us know if we're stupid. But I know some of you in the comments don't know ball like we do, so I've been keeping an eye on some of those usernames. So I will argue with you.
For this next section, we'll just go ahead and move on to our predictions for week 13. Pretty crazy that we were able to make it this far.
Yeah, we have 3 Thanksgiving games. We have a Black Friday game. So we have, with college football, we have like 5 straight days of football, which is pretty awesome if you ask me.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But Michael, do you want to take our first game?
Yeah, absolutely. The first game we have here is our Thursday night divisional matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be an interesting one, but not going to be a close one. I am going to go ahead and take Baltimore here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Baltimore wins this one. They haven't been having the most dominant wins, but I think they've been winning enough that I trust them more than the Bengals. Although I did hear that Joe Burrow will be starting, but until I get that confirmed, I still pick the Ravens to win. For the next game, we have the Jags at Tennessee. Yeah, not much to say. I think the Jags win this one by 2 scores.
You know, the Jags have been playing pretty decent these past 2 weeks, so it's gonna it could easily go the other way. You know, just because divisional matchup. You know, that's just how they go. It would be wrong to not pick Jacksonville here, so I'm with you there. This next game here is going to be Indianapolis versus Houston. This Houston's coming off of a mini bye. They've been playing pretty well as of late with Davis Mills, but I do not think it's going to be enough. I do think this is going to be a game where their Colts kind of reestablish themselves and take a pretty strong hold on the AFC South.
Yeah, I agree. I think this will be a bounce back win for the Colts. They're probably going to be pretty pissed off about losing to the Chiefs, and I just think they're too good to lose to the Texans, but the Texans are still in a pretty good spot. I think at this point they'll be 6-6. You know, worst places to be than 500. For this next game, we have another divisional matchup, which is Raiders at Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles wins this one. The Raiders are not good. They struggled to win against the Browns. And the Chargers have a pretty good defense, so I just don't think they're going to be able to get enough points to overcome the Justin Herbert-led Chargers.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything that there is to say about it. You know, coming off the bye, easy home win for Los Angeles. This next game here is going to be Pittsburgh versus Buffalo. Buffalo's coming off of a mini bye. Another Mason Rudolph game, and Buffalo takes advantage of that and takes the win.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's another example of a team that's going to be really pissed off in the Bills, and I just think that Josh Allen is too good to keep dropping games like this, especially against an aging Steelers defense. For the next one, we have our Thanksgiving afternoon game, which is going to be the Chiefs versus the Cowboys. I do think the Chiefs win this one. I just don't, I don't trust this Cowboys defense yet. I know that they're very good at home, so I do think there's a distinct edge to Cowboys fans, especially playing at AT&T Stadium. So I would not be surprised if the Cowboys get this win. They need it. It's a must-win. It's also a must-win for the Chiefs. So I just think the Chiefs have a talent edge, especially when it comes to quarterback, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to just the overall roster. They were just at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a game where Dallas gets tested, and this is a nice Kansas City Chiefs defense here. So, and these are games that they're going to have to win to make the playoffs at all, because just the way that things are stacking up, they really can't afford to lose too many games. And so a winnable game like this, they're going to have to take advantage of it. And I think they do. I agree with you. I think they do as well. So, moving on to this next game here, we have the Miami Dolphins coming off of a bye week versus the New Orleans Saints. This could be a game the Saints could win, but just because it's in Miami and they come off a bye week here, I'm going to go ahead and stick with Miami.
Yeah, I agree with this take. I think that Miami is just has more experience. I don't think they're necessarily a good team, but they have the better coach, again, the more experienced quarterback, and they have more weapons. I think Alvin Kamara is out for for the rest of the season. I don't know if that's true or not. I just heard that I wasn't playing last week, and it's very possible he doesn't play again. For the next game, we have the Falcons at the Jets. I do think Kirk Cousins notches his second win in a row against the Jets. I know that the Falcons have a pretty favorable rest of this year for scheduling, and especially if Baker Mayfield is out for an extended period of time. I do think the Falcons, I don't necessarily know if they can make the playoffs, but if the Bucs collapse and the Panthers stay very unpredictable, I do think there is still hope for you Falcons fans out there.
If we assume that the Panthers lose tonight and the Bucs continue to slide, we're 5-7. The Panthers are 6-6, and the Bucs, if they lose, they're also 6-6. If they win, they're only 7-5. It's not impossible to come for the division,
but you do have to win out, and you have to be able to beat Rams and or the Seahawks. So,
which chances are, if we want to, the only way we really make the playoffs at this point is if we win the division, which would require winning out and beating both of those teams. So we'll see how it stacks up. I do think we're going to beat the Jets pretty handedly right now. So I am going to go, my hometown team here. Moving on to this next game here, the Cleveland Browns versus the San Francisco 49ers. I do think that Shedeur Sanders might be able to make this closer than it would have been otherwise. But, he's going to face a real defense here. This is not no Raiders. This is not, a fourth quarter Baltimore. I think that's who they were playing when he first came out. He's going to play a full 4 quarters against a defense who is trained and has been playing at a decent level when healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and take San Francisco here.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that they're a better coach team, and even if Brock Purdy isn't necessarily the best quarterback, I do think that he is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders, which is in no ways meant to be a hot take. But yeah, I think that 49ers win. For the next game, we have Broncos at Commanders. I think the Broncos are going to destroy the Commanders. We know they have a good offense against a bad defense. The Commanders do not have a good defense. Jane Daniels is probably still out. And I don't see Marcus Mariota leading a legacy game against the Denver Broncos defense in 2025.
Yeah, I don't either. I do think that Marcus Mariota is really going to hit a brick wall. So I'm also going to take the Denver Broncos here. This next game is our Monday night game. This is going to be between the New England Patriots and the New York Giants. This is that 2008 Super Bowl rematch. I am going to go ahead and take the New England Patriots here. Not a really crazy take, but it'd be kind of funny if Jameis Winston, as underdogs here, like they were both of their Super Bowl victories against the Patriots, that Jameis Winston comes in and just has a legendary miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the Patriots are just on a hot streak right now, so I don't really see them losing right now. For the next game, we have the Thanksgiving Classic Lions game against the Packers. I have to be honest, I'm kind of on the fence about this game. I want to pick the Packers just for my own sake, so I can say I predicted it. Because if I'm being honest, I still don't really trust this Lions team. I feel like, if I want to buy in, they need to start going on a streak against teams that are good. The Packers are a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I do think they want revenge for earlier, but this is also, historically, the Lions almost always lose on Thanksgiving. It's also a very short turnaround, Sunday to Thursday, banged up teams. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I guess I'll just continue my streak. I gotta pick the Lions, but my heart isn't in it.
I understand you there. I do kind of like the Lions in this matchup, especially being in Detroit. It's very possible that you guys do the Detroit thing on Thanksgiving, but if all sense left me, I'd probably pick Green Bay, but I'm gonna stick with Detroit here. So this next game here is a Friday night game. Very interesting. The Eagles versus the Bears, and I'm gonna take Chicago here. I don't like how the Eagles have been playing, and Chicago has been playing phenomenally here. So I do think they're gonna notch another win against a real opponent and maybe potentially cement themselves as playoff contenders.
I also I don't agree with that. I think that maybe it's just because I hate the Bears, but I think with the Eagles being pissed off, I think they have more talent than the Bears. I think they have a good defense, and I think they're really going to give this Bears This Bears team, their first actual test on defense since they played Detroit and they played Minnesota. And when they played Minnesota, they only scored, I think, 17 points. And I think the Eagles have a good enough offense to win this game. But for the next game, we have the Cardinals at the Buccaneers. It really just depends on if Baker Mayfield is playing or not. But I do think that if the Cardinals are playing against a Teddy Bridgewater-led Buccaneers team, that they will win the game.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat here. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense has only been able to do what it has been because of Baker Mayfield. You put in Teddy Bridgewater. This is a C- offense at best. And I just don't. The Cardinals aren't horrible, especially with Jacoby Brissett being able to pass so heavily. So I'm gonna take Arizona here with you. This next game is gonna be Carolina Panthers versus the Los Angeles Rams. Not much to discuss here. This is the top of the NFC team. The Panthers do have a good defense, but I think everybody's getting torched right now by the Rams offense. So continues here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams just have a much better team. There isn't really much else to say, unless we get another 400 yards out of Bryce Young, which I don't think is going to happen. Dare I say, I don't think it's possible because he's not playing against the Falcons. I don't think we should get our hopes up for that. And then for our last game, we have 9 taking on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold revenge game. I think that's going to go very well for him. I think that the Seahawks are going to easily dismantle the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings have not shown that they can do anything offensively against mid teams. When you come up against a defense like Seattle, you need to play better than mid. So it's going to be very difficult for them to do that. They might be able to, make a spark between J.J. McCarthy and then Justin Jefferson, but I don't see it being enough to win the game here. I'm going to go Seattle with you as well.
Yeah, that should wrap up our prediction segment, and we're going to go into our very quick last segment talking about our fantasy
football.
Review. Yeah. I know you, I'll let you gloat in your victories. I didn't do very well. I lost in 2 out of my 3. The only one I won is the one where I have Jahmyr Gibbs because he put up 55 points. In my other league, the one that Michael and I are in, I still put up 150 points, but the guy I'm playing against put up 180. Those games happen. But he had Jahmyr Gibbs, he had Jacoby Brissett, he had George Pickens, all went off. And my team just did, they did well. That's the thing, is sometimes it was a shootout, and I wasn't able to come up with a 30-point deficit from Jahmyr Gibbs.
It's kind of funny how you were like, I'll let you talk about yours first, and then you just started talking about yours, and that was pretty funny. Yeah. I won my game by 1.64, not a lot. I don't know if you noticed this. I went ahead. I threw in Kirk Cousins. I said F it. I threw in Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins got me 14.4. So that was hype. Alvin Kamara was in for like a couple. He had 3.5. So that's kind of where that and Dallas Goedert starting at tight end, only giving me 4, is kind of where I felt my pain. Wan'Dale Robinson threw up a 30 bomb. Breece Hall gave me 14 points. The Patriots kicker gave me 18. And Emmanuel Wilson, filling in for Josh Jacobs, ended up giving me 26.5. So that was huge.
Nice. Yeah.
And that was
exciting stuff.
Yeah, and that was in our league that we had together. In this other league here, I have Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mentioned earlier Hunter Henry, and I actually had Jacoby Brissett in, who got me 13 points. And I won because Baker Mayfield got injured. Otherwise, I would have gotten smacked.
Very happy for you. You're making progress towards the playoffs. We might be meeting up there again. So, it's exciting. That should wrap up our episode for today. If you're still watching, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe for my health. I have tuberculosis, so this might be my last episode. Who knows? Please put hashtag pray for Ben in the comments.
Yeah, let's get a hashtag pray for Ben. It was a great episode to be sharing this, good week of football for me for once. I'm very happy not to be fighting the hardest battle of the year. So, yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next week for week 13.
See y'all next week.
Bye-bye.